reading from Srimad Bhagvatam, Canto 2, Chapter 7, text number 28. Yad vai vraje vrajapashun vishatoya pitan palam tu ajivayat anugraha drishti vrishtya tat chudyate chudaye iti visha virya vilola jitvam uccataishyat uragam viharan hradinyam yadvai vraje vrajapashun vishatoya pita yadvai vraje vrajapashun vishatoya pita palam svajivayadanugraha drishti vrishtya palam svajivayadanugraha drishti vrishtya तच्छुद्धयेति विषवीर्य विलोय जिह्वम् तच्छुद्धयेति विषवीर्य विलोल जिह्वम् उच्चाटयिष्यदुरगं विहरन् ह्रदिन्याम् यद्वै व्रजे व्रजपशून् विशतोय पीतान् पालां स्वजीवयदनुग्रहदृष्टिवृष्ट्या तच्छुद्धयेति विषवीर्यविलोलजिह्वम् उच्चाटयिष्यदुरगं विहरन् ह्रदिन्याम् यद्वै व्रजे व्रजपशून् विशतोय पीतान् पालां स्वजीवयदनुग्रहदृष्टिवृष्ट्या तच्छुद्धयेति विषवीर्यविलोलजिह्वम् उच्चाटयिष्यदुरगं विहरन् ह्रदिन्याम् यद्वै व्रजे व्रजपशून् विशतोय पीतान् पालां स्वजीवयदनुग्रहदृष्टिवृष्ट्या तच्छुद्धयेति विषवीर्यविलोलजिह्वम् उच्चाटयिष्यदुरगं विहरन् ह्रदिन्याम् यद्वै व्रजे व्रजपशून् विशतोय पीतान् पालां स्वजीवयदनुग्रहदृष्टिवृष्ट्या तच्छुद्धयेति विषवीर्यविलोलजिह्वम् उच्चाटयिष्यदुरगं विहरन् हृदिन्याम् यद्वै व्रजे व्रजपशून् विशतोऽयपीतान् आलां स्वजीव यदनुग्रहदृष्टिवृष्ट्या तच्छुद्धयेति विषवीर्यविलोलजिह्वम् उच्चाटयिष्यदुरगं विहरन् हृदिन्याम् यद्वै व्रजे व्रजपशून् विशतोऽयपीतान् पालां स्वजीव यदनुग्रहदृष्टिवृष्ट्या तच्छुद्धयेति विषवीर्यविलोलजिह्वम् उच्चाटयिष्यदुरगं विहरन् हृदिन्याम्
यद्वै व्रजे व्रजपशून् विशतोऽयपीतान्
यद्वै व्रजे व्रजपशून् विशतोऽयपीतान्
पालां स्वजीव यदनुग्रहदृष्टिवृष्ट्या
पालां स्वजीव यदनुग्रहदृष्टिवृष्ट्या
तच्छुद्धयेति विषवीर्यविलोलजिह्वम्
तच्छुद्धयेति विषवीर्यविलोलजिह्वम्
उच्चाटयिष्यदुरगं विहरन् हृदिन्याम्
उच्चाटयिष्यदुरगं विहरन् हृदिन्याम् यद्वै व्रजे व्रजपशून् विशतोऽयपीतान् पालां स्वजीव यदनुग्रहदृष्टिवृष्ट्या तच्छुद्धयेति विषवीर्यविलोलजिह्वम् उच्चाटयिष्यदुरगं विहरन् हृदिन्याम् यद्वै व्रजे व्रजपशून् विशतोऽयपीतान् पालां स्वजीव यदनुग्रहदृष्टिवृष्ट्या तच्छुद्धयेति विषवीर्यविलोलजिह्वम् उच्चाटयिष्यदुरगं विहरन् हृदिन्याम् यद्वै व्रजे व्रजपशून् विशतोऽयपीतान् पालां स्वजीव यदनुग्रहदृष्टिवृष्ट्या तच्छुद्धयेति विषवीर्यविलोलजिह्वम् उच्चाटयिष्यदुरगं विहरन् हृदिन्याम् Yet, one who, why,
why,
certainly,
certainly,
Vraje,
Vraje,
at Vrindavana, Vrajapashun,
Rajapashur,
the animals thereof,
the animals thereof,
Vishatoya,
Vishatoya,
poison water,
poison water,
Pitan,
Pita,
those who drank,
those who drank,
Palan,
Pala,
the cowherd men,
the cowherd men,
two,
two,
also,
also,
Ajivayat,
Ajivayat,
brought to life,
brought to life,
Anugraha Drishti,
Anugraha Drishti,
merciful glance,
merciful glance,
Drishtya,
Ishtya,
by the showers of,
by the showers of,
Tat,
Tat,
that,
that,
Shuddhaye,
Shuddhaye,
for purification,
for purification,
Ati,
Ati,
exceedingly,
exceedingly,
Vishavirya,
Vishavirya,
highly potent poison,
highly potent poison,
Vilola,
Vilola,
lurking, Jihvam, one who has such a tongue,
one who has such a tongue,
Uchchataishyat,
Uchchataishyat,
severely punished,
severely punished,
Uragam,
Uragam,
unto the snake,
unto the snake,
Viharan,
Viharan,
taking it as a pleasure,
making it as a pleasure,
Hradinyam,
Radinya,
in the river.
in the river.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace of Vedanta Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. Then also, when the cowherd boys and their animals drank the poisoned water of the river Yamuna, and after the Lord, in His childhood, revived them by His merciful glance, just to purify the water of the river Yamuna, He jumped into it as if playing and chastised the venomous Kaliya snake, which was lurking there, its tongue emitting waves of poison. Who can perform such Herculean tasks but the Supreme Lord? Please respond. Then also,
Then also,
when the cowherd boys and their animals
when the cowherd boys and their animals
drank the poisoned water of the river Yamuna,
drank the poison water of the river Yamuna,
and after the Lord,
and after the Lord
in His childhood, revived them by His merciful glance,
revived them by His merciful glance,
just to purify the water of the river Yamuna,
just to purify the water of the river Yamuna,
He jumped into it
He jumped into it
as if playing
as if playing
and chastised the venomous Kaliya snake,
and chastised the venomous Kaliya snake
which was lurking there,
which was lurking there,
its tongue emitting waves of poison.
its tongue emitting waves of poison.
Who can perform such Herculean tasks
Who can perform such Herculean tasks
but the Supreme Lord?
but the Supreme Lord?
There's no purport to this verse. Moving on to the next verse. Bhagavatam, chapter 7, text 29. Tatkkarma divyam ivayan nishinishayanam
Tatkarmati
ivayan nishinishayanam Davagina shuchivane paridahyamane
Avadina suchivane paridahyamane
Unneshati vrajamato vashitantakalam
Neshati vrajamato vashitamtakalam
Netre pidhapya sabalo nadhigamya viryam.
Netre pidhapya savado nadigamya virya.
Going to a translation. Tat,
Tat,
that,
that,
karma,
karma,
activity,
activity,
divyam,
divyam,
superhuman,
superhuman,
iva,
eva,
like, yet,
yat,
which, nishi,
nishi,
at night,
night,
nishayanam,
nishayanam,
sleeping carefree,
sleeping carefreely,
davagrina,
davagnina,
by the glare of the forest fire,
by the glare of the forest fire,
shuchivane,
suchivane,
in the dry forest,
in the dry forest,
paridahyamane,
paridahyamane,
being set ablaze,
being set ablaze,
unneshyati,
unneshati,
would deliver,
would deliver,
vrajam,
rajam,
all the inhabitants of Vraja,
all the inhabitants of Raja,
ataha,
ataha,
hence,
hence,
avasita,
avasita,
surely,
surely,
antakalam,
antakala,
last moments of life,
last moments of life,
netre,
netre,
on the eyes,
on the eyes,
Vidhapya,
Vidhapya,
simply by closing,
simply by closing,
Sabalaha,
Sabalaha,
along with Baladeva,
along with Baladeva,
Anadhigamya,
Anadhigamya,
unfathomable,
unfathomable,
Viryaha,
Viryaha,
prowess.
prowess.
Translation. Put by Srimad Vedanta Scholarship Prabhupada. Translation. On the very night of the day of the chastisement of the Kaliya snake, when the inhabitants of Prajabhumi were sleeping carefreely, there was a forest fire ablaze due to dry leaves, and it appeared that all the inhabitants were sure to meet their death. But the Lord, along with Balaram, saved them simply by closing his eyes. Such are the superhuman activities of the Lord. Please respond. On the very night of the day
On the very night of the day
of the chastisement of the Kaliya snake,
of the chastisement of the Kaliya snake,
when the inhabitants of Brajabhumi
when the inhabitants of Rajabhumi
were sleeping carefreely,
were sleeping carefreely,
there was a forest fire
there was a forest fire
ablaze due to dry leaves,
due to dry leaves,
and it appeared that all the inhabitants
and it appeared that all the inhabitants
were sure to meet their death.
were sure to meet their death.
But the Lord,
But the Lord,
along with Balaram,
along with Balram,
saved them
saved them
simply by closing his eyes.
simply by closing his eyes.
Such are the superhuman activities of the Lord.
Such are the superhuman activities of the Lord.
Purport. Although in this verse the Lord's activity has been described as superhuman, it should be noted that the Lord's activities are always superhuman, and that distinguishes him from the ordinary living being. Uprooting a gigantic banyan or Arjuna tree and extinguishing a blazing forest fire simply by closing one's eyes are certainly impossible by any kind of human endeavor. But not only are these activities amazing to hear, but in fact, all other activities of the Lord, whatever he may do, are all superhuman, as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita chapter 4, text 9. Whoever knows the superhuman activities of the Lord due to their very transcendental nature becomes eligible to enter the kingdom of Krishna. And as such, after quitting this present material body, the knower of the transcendental activities of the Lord goes back to body. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupakada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam
Shri Guru Shri Utapadagamam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sakhrijatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagaralita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namaste Tapta Kanchana Gauragi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanuste Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarupyascha Kripa Sindhubhyeva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamini Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Vicharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaurabhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare.
So, thank you very much for coming to the class. Sit down for the business to the devotees, because I should not be speaking in front of the senior devotees. You have humbly given me an opportunity. So I thank you for the opportunity and I seek their blessings so that I may be able to speak. So these two verses, verse 28 and 29, both are describing the different pastimes of the Lord. The 28th verse describes the chastising of the Kaliya snake, the 1,000-footed snake, is chastised by the Lord. Just see the translation again. Then also when the cowherd boys and their animals drank the poisoned water of the river Yamuna, and after the Lord in his childhood revived them by his merciful glance, just to purify the water of the river Yamuna, He jumped into it as if playing and chastised the venomous Kaliya snake. Chastised the venomous Kaliya snake which was lurking there, its tongue emitting waves of poison. Who can perform such Herculean tasks for the Supreme Lord? This is very evident that whatever pastimes the Lord is performing is superhuman, cannot be compared to any human task or any so-called superhero. The Lord is a supreme hero. So, the Lord can do anything as He likes. Even the whole river Yamuna was filled with poison. Even so that the cows and the cowherd boys who were drinking the water, they fell unconscious after drinking. And then when Krishna saw that what is the cause of the poisoning of the river, then he saw that it was a 1,000-footed serpent Kaliya. Then Krishna just very easily jumped into the water. And at that moment, when Mother Yashoda saw that, she fainted because of her motherly affection, thinking that something had happened to Krishna. The thing is, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of God and nothing can happen to Him. Everything is possible for Krishna. That's why we cannot understand Krishna by our mundane understanding. By the material understanding, we may think, oh, he's just a young boy. How he can jump into a river and survive through it? No, a river which was completely poisoned. And forget about a snake with one hood, a snake with 1,000 hoods, emitting so much of poison. A snake with one hood itself can bite and immediate death. But 1,000 hoods, how much more poison that is? So a small child jumping into a river with that kind of a snake, the water itself being poisoned, how it is possible? How it is possible for any ordinary boy to do that? That is why the Lord's pastimes are wonderful. It's beyond any comparison. Cannot compare any human. That's why the problem is the Mayavadis think that the Lord's body is material, or the Lord, the Lord without any form takes a material body. But if He has a material body, then how He can ensure that His material body does not undergo any harm like this? And even in the next verse also, if we see, just go through that translation again. On the very night of the day of the chastisement of the Kaliya snake, when the inhabitants of Rajabhumi were sleeping carefreely, there was a forest fire ablaze due to dry leaves, and it appeared that all the inhabitants were sure to meet their death. But the Lord, along with Balarama, saved them simply by closing His eyes. Such are the supreme activities of the Lord. So just by closing His eyes, He just sends the forest fire away. I mean, if you see the material situation, materially if you see, there is a forest fire anywhere, you will need so many truckloads of water or something. Maybe even then it will not be extinguished. But Krishna just closed His eyes, then all the forest fire gone. This is inconceivable. Any ordinary human, or people who consider that Krishna is just an ordinary human, an ordinary boy, they are heavily mistaken. Because these kind of activities cannot be done by anybody except the Lord. That's why the Lord is inconceivable. Yesterday Prabhu was explaining. The Lord is inconceivable. That's why we cannot understand the Lord by our material senses. Atha Shri Krishna Namadi na bhavet grahya vidyayi. So, Atha Shri Krishna Namadi, Nama Adi, meaning that the name of the Lord and hence so on, which means that His name, His form, His qualities, pastimes, all are not different from Him. So Krishna, His name, His form, qualities, pastimes cannot be understood. Na bhavet grahya vidyayi, cannot be understood by our material senses. Where is that verse?
Madhya 17:136.
With the translation? With the translation? Madhya
17:136.
अतः श्री कृष्ण नामादि न भवेत् ग्राह्य पुण्यैः सेवोन्मुखे हि जिह्वादौ स्वयमेव स्तुत्यता. Therefore, material senses cannot appreciate Krishna's holy name, form, qualities, and pastimes. When a conditioned soul is awakened to Krishna consciousness and renders service by using his tongue to chant the Lord's holy name and taste the remnants of the Lord's food, the tongue is purified and one gradually comes to understand who Krishna really is. So you can understand who Krishna really is only by devotional service. And devotional service begins, see, Sevo Mukhehi Jihva Ado. So it starts from the tongue. So even these pastimes that we see, in fact, it is described as superhuman. These kind of superhuman activities. Although Prabhupada says in the purport of the, or Prabhupada says in his purport, although Krishna, it is specifically mentioned here that these activities are superhuman. Actually speaking, every activity of Krishna is superhuman, not just these particular pastimes. These particular pastimes are just to indicate the level of the independence of Krishna. No material consideration for Krishna's pastimes. Just like in the case of Rasa Leela, Krishna included one night of Brahma into one human night. One night of Brahma, right, into one night of the earth. So that is possible only for Krishna. That kind of adjustment of time, only Krishna can do it. Nobody else can do that. So these kind of things are only indicators to show that how much Krishna is inconceivable. But also even simple things. Krishna is, for example, Krishna is crying on the lap of Mother Yashoda. For example, Krishna was trying to steal the butter, and then when Mother Yashoda caught him, she tied him to the grinding mortar with the rope. Even in that case also, Krishna is showing his inconceivability. Krishna is showing how much supreme he is. And he does not come under the control of he does not come under anybody's control unless he himself desires. Unless he himself desires something, he cannot be controlled. So although Krishna says that he is controlled by his devotee, controlled by his devotee. Sorry, I'm not very conversant with the verses. I need to do the references. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said to the Brahmana, I am completely under the control of my devotees. Indeed, I am not at all independent. Because my devotees are completely devoid of material desires, I sit only within the cause of their hearts. What to speak of my devotee? Even those who are devotees of my devotee are very dear to me. So although in this verse, the Lord says that He is completely under the control of His devotees. Now the reason why He is under the control of His devotees is that His devotees have the pure love for Him. His devotees bind Him by their love. So even in the case of the Damodar Leela, Mother Yashoda could bind Him only because of her love for Him. or her Vatsalya Bhava, her love towards Krishna. That's why she could be able to bind him. Otherwise, with all the ropes in the house, she could not bind him. And Krishna willingly accepted to be bound by Mother Yashoda because of her love for him. So it's the same thing. Krishna says that he is completely under the control of his devotees. Only because of their pure love for him, their unalloyed love for him. But also, if you see, Krishna is also independent. Sometimes he chooses to withdraw his complete surrenderance to the devotee. Simply in the case of the gopis, when Krishna was in the forest and all the gopis were with him, so the gopis became proud. Especially Radharani became proud that, oh, Krishna is with me. You know? But then Krishna immediately disappeared from that place. Which means that Krishna is still Krishna is still Swarat. So if we see that Bhagvatam 1:1, he is still Swarat, he is completely supremely independent. If we see this word, Janmadhyasya Donmaya Idarnash Chakresh Abhignya Swarat. The key word here is Swarat. Swarat is fully independent. So no material law can bind him. No, he is not subject to come under any material laws. And so there are many people who say that, oh, Krishna is, he is dancing with some moralists, so-called moralists of the material world. They say that, oh, Krishna is dancing with so many unmarried women in the middle of the night. I mean, what kind of God he is? But then, if we see, what is wrong with what Krishna is doing? Because everybody is property of Krishna, everybody belongs to Krishna, right? So what is wrong with what Krishna is doing? The gopis are his wives. Even though they may not be married to him, they are still his own wives. In that sense. And that everybody is Krishna's property. Because Krishna is Purusha and everybody else is Prakriti. Ekbala Ishwar Krishna Arasava Bhritya. Everybody else is his servant. So everybody else is a property of Krishna. So if Krishna is enjoying his property, what is wrong with that? If Krishna is enjoying his property, what is wrong with that? So the independence of Krishna, that is what distinguishes the living entity from Krishna. So even the Mayavadis, they may claim to be equal to Krishna. But the thing to understand is, no living entity is supremely independent. Krishna is the only living entity, Krishna is the only person who is supremely independent. Because if we see that verse, Nityo Nityanam Chaitanya Chetananam.
Actually, we can find it in Bhagavatam 2:1-2.
2:1-2 Bhagavatam. With the translation?
Yeah, it's from Upanishad.
Two, 1, 2. It's not like that. 2:1-2.
It's starting in
To the Bhagavatam only, I'm saying. purport. Prabhupada gives the translation. So this was Nityo Nityanam Chetanash Chetananam Eko Bahunam Yo Vidadhati Kamam. So Krishna is also living entity, I am also living entity. But what is the difference? The creator I and the created I are both accepted in the Vedas as qualitatively one. Because both of them are Nitya and Chetana. So Krishna also Satchidananda, I am also Satchidananda. Being a spirit soul. But what is the difference? The difference is Eko Bahunam Yo Vidadhati Kaman, the singular. Out of the plural, that singular, this Nitya and this Chetana, refers to Krishna. Because he, Bahunam Yo Vidadhati Kaman, to this plural, to this Nityanam and the Chetananam, Yo Vidadhati Kaman, who fulfills the desires or who fulfills the requirements, who takes care of the plural. So Krishna is the one supporting everybody. It's not that I can artificially become like Krishna, because I cannot support all the living entities. I cannot take care, I cannot run this material world like Krishna. That is why you cannot become equal to Krishna. No living entity can at any time become equal to Krishna. So that is our understanding. Okay. So in this purport again, getting back to 2:7 and the verse, in the purport Prabhupada says that these activities, all these pastimes of the Lord, all the pastimes of the Lord, like yesterday Prabhu was explaining, killing of Putana, killing of the demons, killing of all the variety, number of demons, from Trinamrita, Aghasura, Bakasura, Dhenukasura, killing of all these demons, and then chastising of Kaliya, and then his pastimes, his childhood pastimes with his mother Yashoda. All these pastimes of the Lord, they are very sweet to hear, and they become even sweet, especially for the liberated souls, because they take more pleasure in the pastimes of the Lord, because they are the ones who thoroughly understand. So Krishna enacts his pastimes, especially his childhood pastimes, just like an ordinary human being. So just like Prabhupada mentions here, even though he acts like a human being, an ordinary human being, he is not an ordinary human being. Because again, avajananti mam prodha manushik dharmashram, there are always people who misunderstand Krishna as an ordinary living entity. But by these kind of pastimes, that Krishna dancing on the wood of Kaliya, or Krishna lifting the Govardhan hill with just his little finger, and Krishna removing, extinguishing or blazing forest fire simply by closing his eyes. All these things are possible. All these things are to show the people that even though he may act like an ordinary living being, he is supremely transcendental. As I said, Abhingi Swarat, supremely independent, he can do anything as he likes. He can manipulate with the laws of material nature. He is not bound by the laws of material nature. But in fact, he binds the living entities. If you see that verse again in the 1.1.1, if you see this, Muhyanti yat suraya, he bewilders by him even the great sages and demigods are placed in illusion, as one is bewildered by the illusory representations of water seen in fire or land seen on water. So this kind of a mirage. Krishna is not bewildered, but Krishna bewilders the living entity. That's why the so-called materialists are all bewildered. They cannot understand what is beyond this material creation. By their own understanding, they're trying to go above, but they're not able to. Because Krishna is the one who's controlling everything. If they learn something about Krishna, if they're getting something closer to the truth, it is because of Krishna. Because Krishna is enabling them to think in such a way. If he's bewildering them also, that is because of Krishna. Because Krishna is causing the forgetfulness or the bewilderment in them. Because of their conditioning, they become bewildered. So this way Krishna says, Matta smriti jnana apohanam cha. What is that verse again? Here, Matta smriti jnana apohanam cha. So whatever Krishna makes a living entity remember, yeah, see, I am seated in everyone's heart, and from me come remembrance, knowledge and forgetfulness. So Krishna is the one seated in everyone's heart. So whatever knowledge anybody gets, even if we are able to understand the Krishna consciousness, it is because Krishna is seated in our heart. So Krishna sees our sincere desire and He wants to fulfill our desire. So whatever our desire, even if our desire is to forget Krishna, He will help us to forget Him. That's how merciful Krishna is. If you want to forget Him, you can forget Him also. So that is the thing. So these pastimes of Krishna, where if we are able to contemplate on them, if we are able to remember them, if we are able to dwell on them, this is because of Krishna's mercy. Because without Krishna's mercy, nothing is possible. So that is why here it is said, whoever knows the superhuman activities of the Lord due to their very transcendental nature becomes eligible to enter the kingdom of Krishna. And as such, after quitting this present material body, the knower of the transcendental activities of the Lord goes back home back to Godhead. So by dwelling on these pastimes, by remembering these pastimes, by reciting these pastimes, by hearing these pastimes, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Mandanam, Dasyam, Sakhyam, Matma, Nivedam. So engaging all our material senses in the service of Krishna. There's also now, taking the example of Maharaj Ambarish. He engaged all his senses in service of Krishna. Savai Mana Krishna Padar Vindayor Vachamsi Vaikuntha Gunar Varnanam. This is how Maharaj Ambarish used to think of, engage all his senses in Krishna's service. Maharaj Ambarish always engaged his mind in meditating upon the lotus feet of Krishna. His words in describing the glories of the Lord, his hands in cleansing the Lord's temple, and his ears in hearing the words spoken by Krishna or about Krishna. He engaged his eyes in seeing the deity of Krishna, Krishna's temples and Krishna's places like Mathura and Vrindavan. He engaged his sense of touch in touching the bodies of the Lord's devotees. He engaged his sense of smell in smelling the fragrance of tulsi offered to the Lord. And he engaged his tongue in tasting the Lord's prasad. He engaged his legs in walking to the holy places and temples of the Lord, his head in bowing down before the Lord, and all his desires in serving the Lord 24 hours a day. Indeed, Maharaj Ambarish never desired anything for his own sense gratification. He engaged all his senses in devotional service, in various engagements related to the Lord. This is the way to increase attachment to the Lord, for the Lord, and be completely free from all material desires. This is how Maharaj Ambarish engaged all his senses in the service of Krishna. Because again, bhakti means service. This is another important thing. Many people say, oh, I am so devoted, I think I am so devoted to Krishna. But how you are showing your devotion? Because if a boy loves a girl or something, and if he doesn't express it in a way, then how it is going to be, okay, I love Krishna, but we have to express it. The way of expressing is devotional service. That is why it is Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam Bhakti Ruchyate. Bhakti means engaging Rishika, our senses, in the service of Rishikesha. Rishikesha, the master of the senses. Krishna is seated in the heart. Sarvasya Chaham Harisanti Vishnu. So he is sitting in our heart. So he is the proprietor of this body. So he being the proprietor of this body, we should use our senses in the service of the proprietor. Just because I am sitting in this body, I am falsely thinking that I am the proprietor of this body. But if we see originally, am I the cause of, I am only the partial cause of this body. Because in my previous life, based on the karma that I did, I got this present body. But the one controlling the karma also is not only myself, it's Krishna, right? So Krishna is the rightful proprietor of this body. So the rightful engagement of our senses is in the engagement in Krishna's service. So Krishna's service starts from Shravanam Kirtanam. So we should hear about Krishna. So the more we hear about Krishna, the more we get purified. This is the same thing. Janma karma cha me divyam evam yogeti tatpataha. This verse that Prabhupada is saying in Bhagavad Gita 4 times. Ekvadeham punarjanmane dvameti. So it is a very popular verse. So one who knows the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities does not upon leaving the body take his birth again in this material world, but attains my eternal abode, O Arjuna. So that is the thing. We need to engage our one who knows, but how do we gain this knowledge? We have to gain the knowledge of the transcendental nature of Krishna, about his activities, about his appearance, about his pastimes, qualities, his name, form. So engaging in this is devotional service. So by engaging in devotional service, we do not get a rebirth. Tekvadeham punarjanmane, as Krishna says. But also, how do we get this knowledge? On our own, we are not able to get this knowledge. Or we can just say, oh, I'm going to Google, find out about Krishna. But that's not the way how we learn about Krishna. We need to learn about Krishna by approaching a guru. Learning about Krishna, there is a verse, Tat Vijnanartham Sa Gurumeva Bhigachet. So to learn about that is the Supreme, we say Om Tat Sat. So the Supreme Personality of Godhead, to learn about Supreme Personality of Godhead, you have to go to the spiritual master. Sa Gurumeva Bhigachet. Where is that verse again? 8:32. Yeah. There is no translation. तद्विज्ञानार्थं स गुरुमेवाभिगच्छेत् समीपाने श्रोत्रियं ब्रह्मनिष्ठम्. So we see that to approach a guru to understand transcendental knowledge. So तद्विज्ञानार्थं स गुरुमेवाभिगच्छेत्. What kind of a guru? Samitpani Shrotriyam Brahmanishtham. The one who has heard from his spiritual master. Shrotriyam means the one who has heard from his spiritual master. So it's not that he's a self-effulgent guru or something, comes out of no sampradaya, no nothing. A guru is one who has heard properly from his guru. That is a bona fide spiritual master. So that comes from the parampara system. That is why a guru must belong to parampara system, because he must have heard from a source. That source is his own spiritual master. And then that the personality whom he has heard from, he would have heard from his own spiritual master. And that goes to the parampara, which goes back all the way to Krishna. So Shrotriyam and Brahmanishtham. The one who is situated on the Brahman platform, one who is situated on the transcendental platform. It's the same way Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita chapter 4, text 34. Popular verse. Tadviti pranipadena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshante jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshinaha. So the one who is situated on the transcendental platform, he has seen the truth, tattvadarshi. Jnaninas tattvadarshinaha. This is the key word. The key word is that he must be a pure devotee. So we have to learn all of this, gain this knowledge about Krishna from a pure devotee. And only by this gaining knowledge from a pure devotee, we shall be able to go back home, back to Godhead. If you see this, does not take his birth in this material world again. This is the essence of this. So ultimately we should take shelter of the spiritual master, a bona fide spiritual master like Srila Prabhupada. Take shelter of him and hear submissively from him. And then engage in devotional service. Because we have seen that if we engage in devotional service, Sevun Mukhe hi Jihva, so hearing and chanting, Shravanam Kirtanam is the most important. Especially for this age, Shravanam Kirtanam is the most important process of devotional service. We follow the instructions of our spiritual master, engaging in Shravanam and Kirtanam, then go back to Godhead. So, any additional points, any additional verses or something which I missed out? Any other questions, please you can ask the senior devotees, they are more qualified to answer. Grantraj Srimad Bhagvatam ki jai, Prabhupada ki jai, I go.
It doesn't seem like you're the first time doing this.
No, you are there.
Didn't finish.